Hi, everyone. I am so excited to be here with one of my most favorite people, and this is Kellie DeMarco. You might recognize her from KCRA Channel 3. She's the nightly news, and one of the most things that I've always loved about Kellie was her expertise, her warm spirit, and that amazing voice. You know, you do have an amazing voice. I think everybody, that's Kellie when they hear your voice. It's one of your trademarks, I think. Don't you think so?
Thank you. Yeah, you know, even when I was a little kid, we had neighbors at our my parents' house who called me the voice. That was before the voice show. So I've always had this deeper voice, and I knew that even at a young age, I liked to perform. So I knew it was going to take me someplace on camera.
Well, I'm so excited that you decided to join me in the Empowered Boss Lady series. I can't tell you how much I've always enjoyed anytime that you guys have had me on the show at KCRA, but you are a powerhouse. You have 3 Emmys under your belt, multiple Edward R. Murrow Awards, and you've also just, I'm really fascinated with your journey, but I want you to tell a little bit more about yourself. Besides being one of the trusted news people in the greater Sacramento area and beyond. So tell us more about all the amazing things that you do and the new thing that some people still might not know that you've jumped into.
Well, that's a really nice introduction. And you, by the way, have been amazing. You know, it's funny, I think back to when we first met. I mean, I first started at KCRA about 9 years ago. And I think you were one of the first people that I interviewed. I was kind of randomly, even though I was on the evening side, I was filling out in the morning. And we did some segments about eating right and just, you know, setting fitness goals. And now, you know, it's kind of full circle. We're back together. And I love all the things that you've taught me just about life in general and being positive. So I love you to death. And I'm so glad to be here. But yeah, my journey for my, you know, entire adult career has been in the news. When I graduated college, I started working at smaller TV stations, as most TV journalists do. You kind of work your way up, and then you start moving to different cities. And so I anchored in Denver on the evening news there for many years. And then I moved to Sacramento. Actually, at the time, I didn't know anything about Sacramento, but my agent said, KCRA is hands down just a powerhouse station. They know what they're doing. They're number one. And at the time I thought, well, this would be a good launch pad for me, maybe to go to San Francisco or Los Angeles. Never my wildest dreams that I think I would love Sacramento this much and end up finishing out my career here. So life is funny, isn't it? How things just change.
Interesting. You know? And I was looking back, gosh, even 4 years ago, you were at the convention for the election, weren't you? Tell us more about that. That must have been fascinating.
It was, yeah. I mean, I was, you know, a main anchor in the evening, but I also was sent to cover really some of the biggest stories nationally, and especially the stories that affected Northern California. And so, yeah, that convention was amazing. It was a lot of work, a lot of, I bet each day, you'd be proud of me, I bet I walked about 13 miles a day, truly. Between the time that we'd get up in the morning, we would work like 20-hour days. So what you saw on TV was this little snippet of the work that we've been. But yeah, I got to cover Super Bowls. I got to cover really fun things. And then I also covered things that were really sad and horrific, mass shootings, fires, earthquakes, snowstorms. I mean, car accidents, you name it. It's a real gamut. But I also feel very blessed that I was able to be kind of, you know, at the front row, if you will, of seeing history unfold where we live.
I want to ask you first about that, and then I want to talk more about where you've moved into since 2020. So when you were doing, what was the favorite part of your day at the news? What did you enjoy doing, and what were some of the most challenging?
What I enjoyed doing was feeling like I was the first to learn new information that I knew affected people, that I could share with them. I loved the people that I worked with. I loved that feeling when breaking news would happen and we'd have no prompters and we would just have to talk, just go and just be on. And I think that was really fun for me to just dress up, the hair and the makeup, as women, that's a fun part
Yes.
too.
Yes.
But just the work and just knowing so much about the world and learning something new every day, I loved. There were challenges. And I think that's kind of what brought me to this next chapter of my life, which is, and I'm sure a lot of women can relate, is just the time, the energy, the
Yes.
commitment to that. It was really, I would go into work at 3 and many times I'd be there till almost midnight. And you miss out on a lot of personal things. You don't see your family as much. There's 4 months out of the year that are ratings years that you can't take time off. And then when you want to take time off, you got to make sure that the other anchors are there. So it's not a normal life, but it's also a life that I loved for almost 20 years.
Yeah, and you have a daughter who also played a big part in your decision to make your move, I'm sure, to the next level. Because I do feel like this is a huge level. I mean, what you were doing was amazing, and now you're doing something that I think is even more amazing. An entrepreneur, an empowered boss lady. That's what I want to. That's what I want to dive into. I think that's so juicy, and I always think that all of the best stuff is lived outside the box, and you've really taken a big leap of faith, which I'm sure was challenging. So tell us more about your new role and what you've built.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, I have a daughter. She's now in first grade. But when I really started thinking about changing the direction of my career, I knew she was in kindergarten at the time, and I knew that this year, I mean, I could have never guessed the pandemic, but on a normal year, she'd be home at 2:30 in the afternoon, and I go into work, as I mentioned, at 3. So I knew I would start missing out on that important time. And I think a lot of women can relate to that. We love the dads. We get a lot of support. Many of us do. But, to miss those moments, we only get that one shot to be around our children. And I just saw that part very clearly. And so basically in the past year before I left, I really started thinking about what I wanted to do. And I saw some really kind of clear opportunities. And then I also had some really good mentors that pushed me into even thinking about starting my own business. I didn't think that I would do that. I thought maybe I'd go work for someone else, work maybe more in public relations. But I really got some encouragement. And once I made that decision, I said, okay, every day, I'm going to do one thing to work on my business. I'm going to work on my website. I'm going to get my logo done. What does my mission look like? What does my ideal client look like? And every day I've made those baby steps. So by the time I was ready to say goodbye on the news, December 31st, I wasn't diving off a cliff. It was kind of like a little hill. There's always some risk and it's scary, but I felt like I really prepared for that time when it came.
You said you had some mentors. Who have been some of your biggest mentors, would you say?
I think, people who I've met along the way in other markets, past news directors, a guy who owns a public relations company in town, just people that I've really felt I could trust along the way. And I knew that if you really put your trust in people that you look up to and just keep the faith, even if it feels uncomfortable, it's like, I know they know what they're doing. So I'm just going to trust. And you just kind of have to just hope that you can only plan so much, but I knew that I wanted to take the best talents of mine from the news business and then pivot those into ways that I could help people. And so I started Kellie DeMarco Communications, and it's basically a lot of media relations. So it's helping companies and nonprofits tell their stories, work with the media in a more effective way. But also I work with people who want to learn how to be better on camera, who may have to do big presentations and they don't know where to look or what to wear or what to say. I help people with strategies with advertising and media buying. I help people create videos for their company to help tell their story. So I really have taken the things I loved best about my job, but now it's on my own time. And it's great to have that flexibility, as you know.
That's so fabulous. How fun. Who would be some of your ideal customers and clients that you like to work with?
Well, I've said, Lorri, along this whole way that I really want to work with people who have meaningful work and meaningful projects. So I'm not necessarily, although it would still be fun, I'm not necessarily helping someone open a restaurant, but I'm helping people work on, services and new products that really make a difference. So one of my first clients this year was I worked with an alliance of people who ran day programs for adults with developmental disabilities and helped them get attention in the capital to get more funding for their services. I work with a client right now who has created this new high-end medical cart that are used in hospitals, and also pivoted and created a medical cart that is disposable that can be used during COVID. I'm still working with a lot of nonprofits. So, things change along the way. I think now I'm really looking for maybe some bigger companies that I can lend my voice to that, might be fun to be a spokesperson. I also really love doing what you and I are doing right now, just having conversations and interviewing people and pulling back those layers on, what makes people tick, what makes them work. And that's kind of the direction that I'm going this, last quarter of the year.
You are such a rock star. I mean, you emanate confidence and grace, and you just you're very talented and you're super smart. I mean, you can just see all of these amazing things. And I always find it so fascinating that women look at women who are powerhouses, and you are, and they think, oh, she never has self-doubt. She always has it together. She's never a hot mess. So do you ever have a moment where you wake up in the middle of the night and you go, oh, what am I doing? Or, and if yes, how do you walk through that?
Absolutely. In fact, Lorri, it was like a month ago, I just had a total, quarantine meltdown and called you. I'm like, I don't want to get up. I don't want to, do anything today. I'm feeling overwhelmed. Like, we all have those moments,
We all do.
I mean, this year has just thrown us all for a loop, and, I think confidence is something that you build over time, but I have self-doubt a lot. And I just have to, I think what's worked for me is to just always try to be positive, create like a safe space for myself. With this pandemic, I've just really focused on, being at home, kind of putting my head down, not reading a lot of the news, surprisingly, and just focusing on the things that I'm good at, because I know there are people out there that want the things I'm good at, and I can't be like the 10 other people that I'm looking up to that I wish that I was like. So I think it's just trying to be the best version of ourselves, if that makes sense.
Oh, totally.
I also think too, being a mom, it just gives you a lot more empathy. It definitely gives you more patience. And I've learned a lot trying to juggle this business with my daughter. It certainly has put me in my place. That's for sure.
Yeah, she's amazing. We've talked about your daughter. She's a powerhouse herself. She doesn't fall very far from the tree. I mean, she is seriously like you've got a blessing with your beautiful daughter. And so, are you? So, what's like next for you? You're building your business, and you're staying in Sacramento. You love what you do, and so are you looking at any next level things, or is this you're just hunkering down and building this right now?
Well, I think during the pandemic, I've actually felt really lucky because of the job that I had previous to this, where people already know me and already trust me. They know that I'm a good person. And so I'm very lucky that has been built in, and that has come to me in so many different ways. But, I still, just like you, Lorianne, I have to be on top of what's going on in the world. I got to constantly show up. I got to figure out ways to market myself and be on social media. And it's just kind of like a lesson that you learn every day, or something goes wrong and you learn something from that. I mean, what I know now, even just it's almost 11 months into my business, I know so much more in just that little bit of time. So I wish I knew what is coming in the next year. But like I said, I'd like to kind of get more back on camera, because that's what I love to do. And yeah,
so
just kind of keep building on the foundation. So, but I know, I think the people and women that are going to be watching this, Lorianne, I think they really are looking for, little, as we used to call it, news you can use, like little tidbits. And I would just say to just keep, putting one foot in front of the other. If you have an idea, or you see an opening, just go for it, And I think you're really good at teaching us that in life, and that we have one chance, we have one opportunity to make the best life possible. And although things can seem like they're difficult, or we can't get out of this job, or we can't leave this relationship, I'm telling you, there's ways that you can do it if you just put one foot in front of the other. I mean, I left a job that was paying really well, that was fun, that I was supported at and I liked, and I took a risk. And I can tell you, it means so much more now being on the other side, just taking that risk and being proud of myself for the things I've accomplished. So I do feel like if I can do it, anybody can do it.
I love that. Yeah, because there's a lot of women who are watching this that have dreams and that they're living inside their box and just think, well, it's Kellie DeMarco or, some of the other people that I have that are going to be on my series, and they just think, I can't do it. So having faith in yourself, if there's one tip that you could give somebody who has a dream, wants to take a risk, what you would just say, yeah, go ahead and get started and go take a step forward, or what would be your best tip for them?
I think I would say just pick up the phone. I mean, we're so used to texting and emailing, but either pick up the phone. I know now it's difficult with COVID, but what I did in the beginning is I set up a lot of little meetings, little coffee dates, a lunch. And I think there's really something to meeting someone face to face. So if there's someone in the industry that you want to go into or that you want to change, call them up. You'd be surprised. People are, if someone called me and say, hey, I want to take you to lunch, I'd say, okay, call me if you want. I think reach out to people, get advice, and you start to realize that the people you surround yourself with are really supporting you. People want you to do well. And that's probably, I think, my best advice is reach out, make those calls, do a little research, and then just make sure that you're surrounding yourself by people that love you and support you. Because trust me, I had people, and still do, I have people along the way that don't want me to succeed and don't want me to do well. And that hurts, it really hurts. But I think as long as you are surrounded by people who believe in you, I think it goes a really long way. And you're the perfect person for that.
Well, I that brings up the point that, a lot of times that look around and I see these women who are doing really well, and it's really funny to see that you're doing well, they can do well too. And this is about women empowering women and lifting each other up and supporting one another on our journeys. And so I'm really glad that you said that, because when you get an arrow, I always call them arrows, you can feel them like they kind of feel like they hit you right in the back and go, where did that come from? What do you do with that arrow? Do you ignore it? Do you just kind of go, well, let it release? Like, what, on the water's back? Like, what do you say to yourself to move through that? Because I think them at me every once in a while, and I feel them, and it's hurtful. So I just let them release and move on, because I don't put energy to that kind of low vibe thinking. But how do you handle it?
Oh, that's a tough one. I mean, I have a couple close best friends that sometimes I just dump everything out on and say, can you believe she said this? Or, I think it's good to talk through things. I mean, we talk through things at home all the time. But I think it's sometimes good to just look at the overall picture. And I think a lot of times when women aren't nice to each other, it's usually because they aren't doing what you're doing. They're talking to you from the sidelines. And I know, Lorri, this is something that you teach, is those people on the couch, you're out doing it, keep doing it, and guarantee your parents are proud of you, your best friends, your partners, your children are proud of you. And you just got to use that energy to keep going forward and just put those blinders on and don't listen to those people. Because if we all did that, then there wouldn't be the success stories that there are. I mean, even people you think that have it all together, a celebrity that, as making millions of dollars in a movie, that they're getting, they're just getting it from all ends, all different sides, people that don't like them, people that don't agree with what they're saying. And hey, they're going to the bank, they keep making movies and they're, so put those blinders on and just try to, like you said, don't be around low vibe people. Sometimes you just have to cut off relationships, and that's painful.
Just when you're leveling up. Yeah, I love that. And so what I'm going to do a quick few rapid fire questions. What's the best part of your day? What's the best part of your day now that you're an entrepreneur?
The best part of my day is being there with my child. I'm going to start crying since I've just, it's so nice, just to be here and be present. And I really try. I have two phones. I've got a laptop. I've got the iPad. But the best part of my day is just sitting with her and just absorbing this time that's going to escape us as soon as she's 16. She's going to want nothing to do with me, and I get it.
Oh,
So
that's a short-lived, now being on the other side of 16 with my daughter, it's very short-lived. And I saw a picture of you on Instagram. Everybody should follow Kellie DeMarco on Instagram. There was a beautiful picture of her with her daughter, and it was just so sweet. She was just snuggled into you, and I could see the love and happiness in your face, and the content on your daughter's face. So really, really wonderful to see. Okay, and then are you an ocean or a mountain person?
ocean.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. I think, I don't know, in some ways, I mean, depending how you look at it, like climbing, I mean, mountains kind of like a climb or a challenge, ocean's kind of easygoing. Oh, that's tough. But I think I mean, just physically, if I could choose, I probably would choose ocean over mountain.
Okay, ocean. And then I kind of think I know the answer to this question, but maybe the viewers aren't going to know. Are you a type A or a type B person?
Definitely more type A.
That's
Yeah,
what I
things
thought.
are, I'm a planner. I'm a planner.
And a
Yep.
goal, you're looking shooting goals, and you're always reaching and stretching. Yes,
Yes.
I see
Which,
that.
you know what, that can be good, but it also can be, you know, that's something that I want to work out too. I've been filling in, as you know, every now and then on KFBK for Joe McGinnis.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a format that is just like an ocean. It's just easygoing. They're like, say whatever you want. There's no teleprompter, there's no producer, there's no script, and it makes me really uncomfortable. You know, I have to, and I still plan what I'm going to talk about. What's the, you know, what are people going to call in? You can only plan so much, but I wish I was a little more easygoing, a little more just.
Maybe that's part of your journey
Yeah.
with becoming an entrepreneur, because you know the fun part about being an entrepreneur is you really don't know what the day is going to bring. It can be surprise, some big surprises, can good and bad, it can drop in your lap. So how do you roll through a challenge when a challenge pops up in your day? What is your what's your go-to?
My go-to wine. No, I'm just kidding.
Working on that.
No, honestly, and you give me this good advice, is just I really start my mornings just I'm trying, Lorri, to do better at this meditation stuff, but really just trying to calm myself in the mornings and just have some alone time and get that movement in through the day. I really notice it brings down my blood pressure, so that when those times come up where I'm, you know, just under a tight deadline, or I'm nervous that I'm not going to perform well or do something well, I just feel like I can handle those little spikes, because we're not going to all have easy days. There's always going to be things that come up. But I think deep breathing, meditating, and just taking a break, and also just knowing at the end of the day, this is a fun job and we're supposed to be having fun. So I think we have to remind ourselves that too. Like, I chose this, so I want this to be fun. And if it was easy all the time, it wouldn't be fun, right?
No, it would be boring, and you'd be one of the people on the couch. So this is a fun question: tattoo or no tattoo?
No tattoo. No tattoo.
I thought so.
Yeah, I'm not against them. You know, it's funny because whenever we travel, we're like, should we have tattoos? I do feel like that because we do a lot of stuff. Everybody has tattoos, and I'm just, maybe someday, but no, not for now.
I know my husband and I just talk about getting those things around our arms just to freak out our kids. So we haven't done it yet. So dog or cat person?
Well, it's funny you mentioned this. So I've been a dog person my whole life. We had a Basset Hound that passed away probably 4 or 5 years ago, and never been a cat person. My daughter turned 4 and I got her a cat. And this cat has actually really grown on me. It's an orange tabby cat. He's very cool. I mean, she tosses him upside down, and the fact that this cat hasn't scratched her eyes out is a miracle. So cats are growing on me, but we're looking at a dog. I know, dogs are just great. They get you out, they keep you active.
Yeah. It sounds like you have a little bit of both going on.
Yeah.
Favorite holiday?
Christmas.
And
4th of July. I think. And
4th of July.
Yeah.
Is it why the 4th of July?
Well, since I moved to Sacramento, I lived in Sacramento, and that was one of the first events that I ever went to. And I always celebrated the 4th when I lived in Denver too. I just love, you know, just how patriotic it is. But those ESAC parades is like something out of a movie. I mean, I remember moving here, like, I didn't even know this still existed in our crazy world. You know, it's just families out on their bikes and taking the day off, and I love it. And obviously what it means for our country and celebrating veterans, and it's just the best. So.
And then what, if you could tell your younger self something, what would be, what would you like to tell your younger self?
I would say to relax a little bit, just
Ah,
chill out. I think we're just so, and our type of personalities are very similar, or we're just kind of the go-getter. Like I need to, you know, perfect this or go to the next level. And at the end of the day, it comes, like as you get older, things just start to get easier. And I was just really so focused on getting to the next level that I think I probably missed out a little bit on just being present, and I think children help you do that as well.
Yeah. Favorite binge food? I want to know this as your coach.
Oh man, I know. I feel like I should say protein bars. You're gonna come over and smack me if I don't. My favorite, I would say chips and salsa.
Chips and salsa.
Yeah.
That's not horrible. That's so. Your most eccentric habit or something that we would find surprising about you.
Gosh, the most eccentric habits?
Or something that we might find surprising about you. Like for me, one of my weird little things is that I always, and people find this fascinating and I don't know why, but I always put lotion on my feet every night and I put my husband's socks on. So whenever he can't find his socks, he's like, are you wearing all of my socks? And they're in this little drawer next to my bed where I hide his socks. And I don't know why I do that, but it's just one of my little weird little things that I really, and I go to bed with a mouthpiece and earplugs and socks. And it's
so sexy.
It's so sexy. And he's still, I'll wake up in the morning, I'll have a full-on afro, I've slept on this side, so I have lines on my face, and he's like, you're gorgeous. So I'm really grateful that I married the man that I did.
Oh, and so, you probably have super soft feet. So there's
I have super soft feet.
Yes. Probably something that would surprise you is I love to organize.
You do?
Yeah. Like when I have a full day by myself where maybe my daughter is, at school or she's at her dad's, if I'm totally by myself, I think it's because I like things to be orderly and I like to give stuff away. Like I'm always donating stuff to Goodwill or I'm putting stuff on Poshmark. I like to just clear things out and be organized. Like I think I like at the end of the day feeling like I accomplished something. So just yesterday, I just took a couple hours and I was just cleaning out the garage and getting, I just love it. I don't know. It makes me feel good.
Yeah, I like coloring.
When I used to anchor, we wear all these bright colored sleeveless dresses, like a rainbow of dresses. You should have seen my closet. It was like rainbow. It was all red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. It was all organized. Like that's just
wow. That's a secret talent.
Yeah.
That's maybe another new job.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, with there's going to be people who are going to want to know how they can reach out to you and possibly work with you. And so, would you like to share some information about yourself so that people can know more what you will do with them and how to reach you?
Yeah, absolutely. So, my website's probably the easiest way to reach me, or social media. It's all KellieDeMarco.com or at Kellie DeMarco. Again, the name of my company is Kellie DeMarco Communications. And so if you are a company or a nonprofit and you need help telling your story, I'm your girl. I feel like one of the big aha moments for me when I was in the news is I saw so many companies and so many nonprofits that had really good things that they were doing and no one knew about them and we couldn't cover them on the news. And I know there's a lot of women who own businesses who are philanthropic or they're doing something great for the community or they just offer a service that could be really helpful, but no one knows about it. That's what I love to do. I love to help people, whether that's create an awesome video for their website that showcases what they do or get them in touch with the media to get them on the news and get their story told. I just love helping people. So if that's something that you need, or you need a spokesperson, or you need an MC at your event, I think that it would be fun to work with other local women because we've got to support each other. And it just makes me smile to see how many women are just bossing up and running companies and being successful. And I just want to help share your story. So actually through Lorri, I'm offering just a free phone consultation. Is, I say 30 minutes, but women, how we are when we chat. So I would love for, anyone watching to just call me and let's just chat, because I wish that I had probably more women that I could have called and got some advice from on where I was going in even my life, even just personally. I think it's just good to just have a friend to call up, but I'm happy to give you advice on marketing, advertising, media relations, video production, social media. Any help I can provide, I'm happy to.
We'll have a link with this video, so that will be direct link to you as well. So that'll be great. And I have to say, I've watched Kelly on the news for years, and she has those beautiful Emmys right behind her that are gorgeous and so well deserved. And then I was at an event recently for cancer, and they broke all the records with you guys for amazing co-host and helping the event raise away. I think they almost, I know that it was quite a bit higher than the year before. I think they raised over $110,000.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, that's another thing that's come out of COVID is all of these virtual events. I have a friend who's an auctioneer, so I partner with him every now and then to help raise money for these organizations. Because as you know, we used to go to these really fun, galas where we get dressed up, and these nonprofits depend on donations, and so we've figured out a way to do it really well virtually, and it's fun.
You were so fun. You were so fun.
It's meaningful. Again, that's that thread, right? Is breast cancer is meaningful to me. My mom's a 2-time survivor. I lost one of my best friends to breast cancer, and so that was an easy yes for me to be a part of that. But boy, life is different these days during COVID, isn't it?
Yes, it is, but you have transitioned in such a beautiful way, and I'm really excited to share your story and a little bit more about you, so that people know the woman behind Kellie DeMarco Communications. And I have to say, I just love you, and you know that.
Oh, I love you too. Thank you so much for inviting me. And for anyone watching, I say call me, but Lorianne, I always want to say Lorri, but Lorianne, you're just such a wonderful friend, someone that you can bounce ideas off of. And the life coach part of your business, I don't think I really realized how big that was until I went to one of your women's retreats. And that was, for me, a really life-changing time to just look within and give myself even that much more confidence. And I just love that you're bringing all these women together and helping, because we really need this right now.
You are an empowered boss lady, and I love you. So I'm gonna go ahead and close this off for right now, but just stay on for just a minute.